Mom,
After more than half a year, with absolutely no contact, I received a call from my daughter, Ashley. It was already past 8 p.m. Normally, it wouldn't be a big deal, but for Ashley, who has a family of her own, to call at such an hour was extremely rare. I instinctively felt that something serious must have happened. Ashley, what's wrong, calling at this hour? What happened? At first, Ashley didn't respond. All I could hear was a whistling sound like air leaking through the phone.
Mom,
In a faint voice, as if squeezing it out, Ashley finally spoke. Ashley, what's wrong? Are you really okay?
Mom, help me.
Sensing something was terribly wrong, I hit the speaker button on the phone. Immediately, my husband, John, rushed over to me, straining to listen. Ashley, hold on. What exactly happened?
It hurts. I haven't eaten anything. I might not make it.
Haven't eaten anything. What do you mean?
I haven't been given anything to eat. By my in-laws. Nothing at all.
I pictured Ashley crawling on the floor, desperately reaching out to me for help.
We have to do something fast, or Ashley's in danger.
John shouted and grabbed the car keys and headed for the front door. I'm coming to get you right now. I yelled into the phone, hurrying after my husband. My name is Susan Smith, 70 years old. Currently, John and I run a fine dining restaurant together. John, having trained in a renowned restaurant when he was younger, is well known for his skill. John and I met through a family introduction, and upon marrying, he opened his own restaurant. John's not just skilled, but he's also got a way with words and a down-to-earth personality that's won him a lot of regulars. I've been helping out at the restaurant for nearly 30 years now, but lately, I've started to feel a bit of wear and tear on my body. Maybe it's my age, but just a little bit of movement causes me pain in my back. John, my husband, has suggested hiring some part-time help, but while I appreciate his concern, I worry about the payroll and prefer to keep working as long as I can. Sometimes, John jokingly grumbles, "It would have been nice if she was here to help us out," referring to our daughter, Ashley. Since she's already established her own family, it's not like we can ask her to come back and help at the restaurant now. Ashley is currently living about an hour's drive from our home, in the next town over, with her husband, Mike, and their son, Kevin, as well as Mike's mother, Linda, and recently, Mike's sister, Sarah, has also moved in with them. I don't know the details, but I heard Sarah came back home after getting divorced. I had hoped that Ashley would help out at our restaurant after graduating from college, but she wanted to see more of the world and left home. She ended up getting a job at a major department store, working in the women's clothing section. Fresh out of college, Ashley, with her charm and natural brightness, quickly won over the customers. It was there she met her future husband, Mike. Mike worked in the sales department, focusing on high-end clients, a star in one of the most prestigious parts of the store. When Ashley first introduced Mike to me, I couldn't help but feel a bit of unease. "Are you sure it's okay to marry such a perfect man?" In fact, Mike had a handsome face and a knack for charming conversation that captivated many customers, with some even visiting the store specifically to see him. Yet, Ashley would dismiss my concerns with a carefree smile, saying, "It's okay, Mom, don't worry, I trust him." Following that, Ashley married Mike and, taking that as an opportunity, quit her job at the department store to dedicate herself to supporting her husband as a stay-at-home wife. The next year, their son Kevin was born, which brought me the joy of having a grandchild and relieved my worries. Despite everything, it seems like those two are doing just fine, huh? For a while, the Young family of 3 was living in an apartment, but 5 years ago, following the death of Mike's father, they moved to live with Mike's elderly mother, thinking she'd be lonely on her own. Ashley would call home from time to time, but lately, she lamented that Mike was often not around.
Mike stayed out late for work again yesterday and ended up staying at a colleague's apartment. It's been happening a lot recently. Even on weekends, he's away on business.
Still, Ashley laughed it off over the phone, saying, maybe it's just part of being an adult in society. One day, I decided to call Ashley after a long time. Kevin's birthday is coming up, right? Do you have any plans on the day?
We don't have anything particular planned for the day. Why?
Perfect. Our restaurant is closed that day. So how about you, me, and Kevin go out somewhere? To an amusement park or an aquarium, anywhere that would make him happy.
That might be nice. Mike has been really busy with work lately and hardly ever comes home. So Kevin hasn't been able to go out much and is bored.
Ashley sounded excited over the phone, but as Kevin's birthday approached, Ashley called me to apologize.
I'm sorry, Mom. I hate to say this, but something came up after we spoke. I can't go out with you and Kevin after all. I'm really sorry.
Something came up. What happened?
A birthday party organized by the kids' club was scheduled, so we can't make it that day.
A kids' club? Huh. I guess you can't just cancel on them. I was a bit disappointed, but quickly shifted gears. Well, it doesn't have to be on Kevin's birthday. Just let me know whenever you're free.
I'm sorry, Mom. It doesn't look like we'll be able to go anywhere for a while. Next week there's a nature class with the kids' club. And the week after that, swimming lessons start. It's all pretty packed.
Kids these days sure are busy. It's a shame, but it looks like we'll just have to give up. I had been looking forward to seeing my grandson, so my disappointment was significant. I asked some regular customers who are currently raising children about the latest game consoles that kids enjoy, and I sent one to Kevin.
Mom, the present arrived. Thank you.
I received a thank you call from Ashley. However, I felt a bit of discomfort in the voice of my daughter, which I should be familiar with. Perhaps it's a mother's intuition, but Ashley, who is usually cheerful and energetic, seemed somewhat gloomy and subdued that day. What's wrong? You seem a bit tired today, huh?
No, not at all. I'm as energetic as ever.
Is that so? Well, if you say so.
Anyway, thanks for the gaming console.
About that, I'm not really up to date with what elementary school kids are into these days, so I just went with something someone recommended. I wonder if Kevin was pleased with it.
Well, of course. He was really happy with it, saying Grandma really knows my stuff.
For some reason, Ashley seemed to be in a hurry to end the call, as if she wanted to avoid dragging out the conversation with me. Are you guys doing all right?
What's with that all of a sudden? We're managing just fine. So don't worry about us, Mom.
You mentioned once that Mike's been coming home late recently. Has anything changed since then?
You worry too much. I told you not to bother about it. I've already forgotten about that. And you know, phone calls aren't free, so I'm going to hang up now. You must be busy with the restaurant, right?
Just wait a minute. Right now, it's not about me, it's about you. I started to say, but Ashley hung up on me before I could finish. I only asked about her recent situation, yet why does Ashley try so hard to push me away? It's as if she doesn't want me to probe into her family's affairs, evasively dodging my questions and cutting off the conversation unilaterally. I can't shake the feeling that something's not right. I felt a sense of foreboding. After the restaurant closes, it has become a routine for me and John to have a quiet drink in the living room. That night, as usual, we were relaxing and sharing the weariness of the day. It's about Ashley. Something seems off with her. She seems tired, or maybe not her usual self. I can't quite put my finger on it.
You call her from time to time, don't you?
I just called her this afternoon, but she cut me off one-sidedly.
Is she pushing you away?
More than pushing away, I think she doesn't want to worry me. This might just be a mother's intuition, and it might not be reliable, but I feel like Ashley is hiding something from me. John crossed his arms and fell silent for a while before murmuring, "Could it possibly be related to that thing?" That thing? What are you talking about? After some hesitation, John decided to speak up.
I heard something concerning from one of our regulars about Mike.
What's wrong with Mike?
This regular mentioned that while they were out in the city, they saw Mike leaving a bar with a woman who wasn't Ashley.
You don't think Mike would do something like that, do you?
The woman was not young, but apparently quite attractive, and she was dressed in flashy, expensive-looking designer clothes.
It must be a case of mistaken identity. I said something in defense of Mike. No, it's more accurate to say I didn't want to stir trouble between Mike and Ashley out of parental concern, rather than defending Mike per se.
Of course, the regular wasn't sure it was Mike, just someone who looked somewhat like him.
I didn't want to take that regular's eyewitness account at face value. Yet, I've heard that Mike has been coming home late recently and going out more on weekends. Maybe, unbeknownst to us, Mike is seeing another woman apart from Ashley. With no concrete information, my mind can't help but wander to the worst possible scenarios. I'm worried about Ashley. She never complains or shows weakness. If she knows about this and is struggling.
Don't think too negatively. I'll see what I can do. For starters, one of our regulars is a lawyer. I'm thinking of consulting him.
Since then, I've been so worried about Ashley every day that I even ended up breaking dishes I was washing.
What's wrong? You seem tired yourself, don't you?
I stopped working and tried calling Ashley numerous times, but she hardly ever responded. Occasionally, she'd remember to tell me I'm doing fine, with a brief update, but it was surprisingly nonchalant. Whenever I'd tried to delve deeper into family matters, she'd laugh it off and hang up quickly. Each time I heard Ashley's voice over the phone, it sounded more and more lifeless, as if it could disappear at any moment. I remembered Ashley's charming smile that everyone loved before she was married, and as my anxiety grew day by day, I found myself in tears. Then, about half a year later, I suddenly received a call from Ashley, with whom I had lost all contact. It was after 8 p.m. Normally, it wouldn't be a big deal, but for Ashley, who has a family of her own, to call at such an hour was extremely rare. I instinctively felt that something serious must have happened. "Ashley, what's wrong, calling at this hour? What happened?" She didn't respond. All I could hear was a whistling sound like air leaking through the phone. Still, I was certain it was Ashley holding the phone. "Is there nobody around you? Are you alone there?" Since I couldn't hear any background chatter, that's what I thought.
Mom.
In a faint voice, as if squeezing it out, Ashley finally spoke. "Ashley, what's wrong? Are you really okay?" "Mom, help me." Sensing something was terribly wrong, I hit the speaker button on the phone. Immediately, John rushed over to me, straining to listen. "Ashley, hold on. What exactly happened?"
It hurts. I haven't eaten anything. I might not make it.
"Haven't eaten anything? What do you mean?"
I haven't been allowed to eat by my in-laws. Nothing at all.
I pictured Ashley crawling on the floor, desperately reaching out to me for help.
We have to do something fast, or Ashley's in danger.
John shouted and grabbed the car keys and headed for the front door. "I'm coming to get you right now," I yelled into the phone, hurrying after my husband. Throughout the drive, we were both silent. John kept his grip on the steering wheel, his brows furrowed and veins standing out on his forehead. It was probably a mix of inexplicable anxiety and anger at the thought that our precious daughter might be undergoing some unjust treatment. Looking in the mirror, I was sure my expression mirrored John's. Fighting the urge to cry, I closed my eyes, and images of Ashley's youthful, innocent smile floated before me. An innocent girl, unaware of the world's evils, reaching out to us with her tiny hands, trying to share her happiness, filled me with frustration. Ashley was asking for help. Thinking this made me feel all the more pathetic for not having noticed her suffering sooner. From the sound of her voice on the phone, it was clear Ashley was very weak, even without seeing her with my own eyes. I couldn't believe that Ashley, who used to radiate vitality, with a smile as bright as a picture of health, was now pleading for help in such a voice. Looking out the passenger window at the dark streetscape, I murmured, "This must be a dream. I must be having a nightmare." As we passed through a quiet residential area, the light leaking from each home seemed to carry the laughter of families, making me feel that this was how it was supposed to be for Ashley and us, and sadness washed over me again. Even though it was a distance that would take an hour during the day, since the rush hour was over, the roads were relatively clear, and we arrived at the Thompsons, where Ashley lived with Mike and her in-laws, in no time.
Are you okay? I can go in alone if you want.
John offered his kind words, concerned for me, but this was a matter for our family. No matter what reality awaited us, I was determined we will definitely save Ashley with our own hands. When we rang the doorbell, after a moment, a carefree voice could be heard from inside.
"Hello? Who is it at this hour?
Contrastingly peaceful and laid back to the urgent call made by Ashley, Mike's voice left us puzzled. It's Susan, Ashley's mother. After I introduced myself, Mike went silent, perhaps cautious, then slowly said, Is something wrong?" before cracking the door open to peek out at us standing outside.
Sorry to bother you late at night, Mike. We have urgent matters.
John wedged his foot into the slightly open door and forcefully pushed it open.
Hey, what are you doing, John?
We're coming in.
With a forceful attitude that brooked no argument, we pushed our way into the house. When we stood in front of a narrow room at the end of the hallway, with no lights on. Is Ashley here? Why we thought Ashley was in this room, I couldn't explain later, but we had no doubt her daughter was here, calling out for our help from this very spot.
It's beyond rude. Even if you are Ashley's parents, I'll call the cops.
Well, that works out. Might as well have a police witness this, huh?
John didn't flinch as he forcefully slid the room's door open. There, Ashley was crouched on the floor, like a worn-out, discarded rag. It took our brains a few seconds to recognize that this was our daughter, so emaciated and changed was her form. Ashley, oh, what in the world has happened to you? We let out a voiceless cry as we rushed to Ashley, lifting her weakened body.
Mom, help me. It hurts. I can't take it anymore.
Barely breathing, Ashley managed to respond. It was immediately clear that Ashley was delirious and suffering from severe dehydration.
What are you people doing here? Get out, right now.
Mike tried to shoo us away as if we were intruders, but his voice lacked any conviction. His gaze wandered as if scared of something, his body trembling uncontrollably. Mike, just bring some water for now.
But I can't possibly.
Quit your whining and just bring it. My furious shout pressured Mike into running to the kitchen, and he quickly returned with a bottle of water from the fridge. I snatched it away, opened a cap, and said, "Here you go, Ashley, drink some water." Hearing the commotion, Linda and Sarah also came.
What's all this ruckus about?
It's so loud I can't hear the TV.
I think we're the ones who'd like an explanation.
John glared at Mike, demanding answers, and Mike immediately prostrated himself in apology.
I'm so sorry.
And then Mike began to explain how Ashley ended up in this state, a story beyond our wildest imaginations. It seems things were going well initially when Ashley and her husband started living with her mill, Linda. However, at some point, Mike started coming home late, and as if in response, Linda's attitude towards Ashley turned cold suddenly. One day, worried about Mike's late returns, Ashley talked to Linda, who, instead of addressing her concerns, blamed Ashley for Mike's absence. Ashley had no idea why she was being blamed, but Linda told her it was because she couldn't get back to her pre-pregnancy figure after giving birth to Kevin, which was completely unreasonable. From then on, Linda began to dump all the household chores on Ashley every time she refused, and even imposed dietary restrictions on her. Despite this, Ashley tried to stay cheerful and brushed off every unreasonable demand, but it seemed Linda didn't find this amusing. The harassment escalated and under the pretense of preventing secret snacking, Linda took control of all of Ashley's finances. Sarah, Ashley's sister-in-law, who had returned home after a divorce, joined in because she thought it sounded fun, and Linda entrusted Sarah with monitoring Ashley whenever she couldn't. The hardest part for Ashley was not being allowed to care for Kevin with her own hands. There was nothing more painful and sad than not being able to raise her own child, whom she had carried and given birth to, under the same roof. Linda unilaterally forbade Ashley from even seeing Kevin, and if she tried to approach Kevin's room, Sarah, the monitor, would immediately stop her. While Ashley was being forced to clean the bathroom as a punishment, Linda was having a great time with Kevin.
This is all I know.
Mike said, collapsing weakly to his knees.
Don't speak so lightly of our family's shame.
Exactly. I can't believe you'd blab such nonsense to strangers. You have really lost your nerve, bro.
That's not all, is it? There's more you're hiding, right? Mike looked up for a moment with a huh, and his face showed signs of anxiety. Just then, a taxi stopped at the entrance, and the sound of someone getting out could be heard.
Here he came.
The three members of the Thompsons were completely bewildered by the situation. Soon, a tall gentleman in his 50s appeared, and Mike's face turned pale. "Looks like you know this man, don't you?" Mike gave no answer, but it was clear he understood there was no escaping the situation. Without even looking our way, he just waited for time to pass.
Good evening. My name is Keith Wilson, an actor. Is this my first time meeting a Thompson family in person like this?
He glanced at each member of the Thompson family, confirming their faces one by one. In his younger days, Keith Wilson was a popular actor known to everyone for his roles in movies and TV shows, but as he aged, his popularity waned. Nowadays, he's known more for his past fame than his current work.
Why is Keith Wilson, of all people, here at our house?
Linda, speaking for the Thompson family, asked with a smile that was more of a grimace, her voice pitched high from nervousness. It was clear to anyone that she was deeply unsettled. I invited him here. Before coming, I contacted a lawyer friend of mine and asked Keith to join us.
I wonder what the connection is between Keith Wilson and us.
She tried to play it cool, but I just grinned and said, "You all must have some idea why Keith is here, right?" Soon after, the lawyer arrived, apologizing for his delay with a chuckle.
Sorry I'm late. Got caught up sorting out some documents for another case.
With the lawyer's appearance, the Thompson family fell silent.
Actually, at the request of Susan, I've been investigating Mike here for the past 6 months. We discovered he's been having frequent secret meetings with a certain woman. The woman in question is a wealthy patron at the department store where Mike works. And upon further investigation, we uncovered a shocking fact.
This woman is none other than my wife, Catherine Wilson.
Keith Wilson joined in with a calm explanation.
I was honestly surprised when Catherine brought up divorce, but somewhere in my heart, I thought, I knew it. She had been sneaking out without telling me for a while. After hearing everything from this lawyer, everything clicked. So, we decided to come here today to hear Mike's side of the story directly.
Mike slowly stood up and began to speak in a fragile voice, as if he were a shell without a soul.
As I mentioned earlier, Catherine and I met through our relationship as a major department store client and a salesperson. Over the years of working visits to her home, we found ourselves in such a relationship. At first, I thought it was just a fling, but then we discovered Catherine was pregnant, and we couldn't turn back. So, we both decided to leave our partners and remarry. I'm truly sorry.
Keith was standing tall like a warrior, and Mike clung to his feet and sobbed out an apology.
When I was celebrated as a top actor, Catherine always gave me her brightest smiles. But now, with my work dwindling, and then she met a handsome man like you, I guess she couldn't help herself. She's someone who must have whatever she fancies, you know.
Keith said with a weak laugh. Although Mike wanted a divorce from Ashley, he couldn't easily bring it up because being in an affair himself, he would be the one liable for alimony. So he turned to his mother, Linda, for help. Initially, Linda was against the divorce due to societal appearances, but changed her tune completely when she learned the other woman came from a wealthy family, eagerly offering her support. Thinking if Ashley initiated the divorce, there would be no need to pay alimony, Linda began to harass her at every opportunity, scheming to make Ashley want to leave the house on her own.
I believed in you.
Ashley, though staggering, stood firmly on her two legs, overwhelmed by frustration from being deceived by her in-laws, and burst into loud sobs.
I thought if I lost weight, Mike would surely come back to me. That's why I could endure any unreasonable treatment from Linda or Sarah. To think it was all a plot to drive me out.
It's okay now. You've done nothing wrong. You don't have to try so hard anymore. I hugged my daughter tightly.
It's true I wanted a divorce from Ashley, but never in my wildest dreams did I think Mom and Sarah would go to such extremes. Even I'm appalled.
Hold on a minute. I was only trying to help you out by getting Ashley out of this house. It's your affair that started all this trouble.
Exactly. You've been turning a blind eye to everything we've been doing for her, acting like you had no idea. Don't pretend to be innocent now.
Witnessing three people hurling insults at each other, I was utterly speechless, but next to me, Ashley, trembling, burst out.
Enough is enough. If you so desperately want me gone, I'll leave on my own accord.
Oh, really? Well, that would be helpful.
It's wrong to be pleased, Linda. I will never forgive you. Once we're divorced, expect a hefty alimony claim from me, just so you're prepared.
With that, Ashley's voice filled the house. Kevin, where are you? Come here. We're going to live at your grandparents' house from now on.
Okay, got it.
Kevin cheerfully ran down the stairs from his room and hugged Ashley. Later, Mike was fired from his company for an affair with a client that severely damaged the company's image. Ashley, as she had declared, filed for divorce and demanded a substantial amount of alimony. Having lost his job and now faced with alimony payments, Mike, after a huge fight with Linda and Sarah, was forced to reluctantly sell the house. Ashley's fury did not end there. She also demanded a significant amount of compensation for mental and physical distress from Linda and Sarah. Despite being harassed by Linda and Sarah, Ashley had been diligently documenting the situation in a notebook daily, which proved advantageous in court. Ashley's health and spirit gradually recovered after moving back to our home, and she became her cheerful self again. Despite ongoing issues with the Thompson family, everything was resolved with the help of a skilled lawyer. Rumor has it that Mike and Catherine had a child. After losing his job and home, Mike, living on Catherine's financial support, lost all will to work and became increasingly unkempt. To make matters worse, elderly Linda and nagging Sarah followed him, which was too much for Catherine, raised in luxury, leading her to leave with their child. After Catherine left, what became of the Thompson family is beyond me and of no interest.
Well then, it's time I got back to work after slacking off too much.
With that resolve, Ashley began helping out at our restaurant due to my back pain. Ashley, who had previously worked in customer service at a major department store, quickly became well regarded locally, turning the restaurant into a bustling place with lines out the door. With a new star at the restaurant, I have no regrets. I stepped back from our business and spent my free time watching over Kevin. Kevin is about to enter middle school and declared at his elementary school graduation that he wants to be a cool chef like his grandpa, making me and John cry. We can't wait to see what the future holds for Kevin.